Internet security, that's something we really need to talk about. I liken it to leaving the front door open on your house in a bad part of town. The internet, the cable coming into your house is a two-way street. As much as you can go out through it, everyone can come in through it. So there is no security unless you deal with it.
Dave Chalk Connected is brought to you by TELUS. The future is friendly.
The biggest risk on the internet is the fact that everything you have and everything you cherish, especially now that we're loading our pictures and our video, everything digital to our computer, is that you could lose it all. You could lose it two ways. One, somebody takes it, or two, they just destroy it right on your own computer, like dropping a bomb on your house. You gotta be careful.
I'll get it when we actually do the safety. Why don't we just bring it back up?
Well, no one will argue it's difficult being a parent these days, not to mention the time constraints. You can't be in two places at one time. Well, maybe you can now thanks to TELUS and a new service called HomeSitter. HomeSitter allows you to monitor a location in real-time streaming video, say your house or maybe your cottage. This is perfect for a parent who wants to know what's going on at home. You can monitor any number of cameras, and the website interface will allow you to watch 4 of them at any time. It's all handled through TELUS.
And action.
I'm at the studio loft right now where all the cameras are, and you can see we've got the interface on the screen, and like Dave was saying, you can monitor it all. Most people will probably just start off with one camera, but the cool thing is that you can have the 4 cameras going at the same time and see them right on the screen. So no matter where you are, Dave at the airport, or if you're at your buddy's house, or even at the office, you can check in on things. And it's not just for checking up on kids. Think about it, elderly parents, pets, even recreational property. And as far as the camera setup, it's pretty simple because they're wireless. The HomeSitter camera setup is pretty straightforward. All you have to do is plug in a power cord, find the right place on the wall, and the video signal is automatically sent directly to your wireless router. There's no computer involved. It even has a built-in motion sensor, which is great. So from any web interface, you can go in and set the motion sensor on to have it record video if anyone tries to come creeping by. And it'll even notify you if someone has tripped the motion sensor. It'll send a text message to your cell phone pager or even email you. And again, from any web interface, you can check that out. I've got the camera set up here. I've also got another one set up over on the wall in the studio there. So for peace of mind, whether you're monitoring kids, pets, or your cabin, have a look at the TELUS HomeSitter service.
Cut. Yep. Camera?
Yep.
All right. Good to go.
Let's go take a look at the other camera.
Segments. That camera.
This is cool. So we got another camera here. So it's neat because in your house now, you could actually have one at your front door, you could have one looking out at the backyard, or, you know, in whatever room in the house that you want, and monitor it from the office. Or if you're out on vacation, you bring in your laptop along, you can check that out as long as you've got an internet connection. Well, imagine this. You're driving down the highway and thinking, oh my gosh, I forgot to send an email. Well, you've got your notebook computer with you, but where to find that internet connection? Well, there's millions of hotspots around now in airports, cafes, hotels. The trick is finding one. One way is to open up your notebook, wait for it to boot up, and then if you do have an internet connection or a wireless connection in your notebook computer, it can then detect. What about an easier way? This is something from Kensington. It's called their Wi-Fi Finder. It can actually detect hotspots up to 200 feet away. And the nice thing about that is it's right on the end of your keychain. You don't have to wait for your notebook computer to load up. And just by simply looking at the 3 LED lights here, it'll actually give you the signal strength as well. So now when you're on the road for just $40 on the end of your keychain, you can find those hotspots in a jiffy.
If you do a lot of traveling, here's a handy little device that'll make your wireless connectivity just that much easier. It's called the Wireless Pocket Router from D-Link. It sells for under $100, and it's actually 3 devices in one. First off, typically when you enter a hotel room, if you want to connect up, you're going to have to plug the Ethernet cable into your notebook computer. If you want to sit on the bed or across the room, it makes it a lot easier this way by just popping the device into this.
using the wireless connectivity of your notebook that is built in, you're now connected to the hotel's internet, or any internet connection for that matter. Other features of this are kind of neat. We'll put this back in, and let's say we don't mind being wired directly. Using the other cable that comes with it, pop it in here, plug this into the USB port of your computer. You've now made yourself an access point. People joining you in the room can now wirelessly also connect to the internet and to your notebook computer. And on the third side, if you didn't happen to have a wireless connection or a wireless access point built into your notebook computer, and you're in a hotspot, for example, by attaching it this way allows your notebook to connect up to another wireless network that's available in the area. Nice little device, low cost, something to take with you, ensuring you're getting connectivity wherever you go.
Yeah.
The idea is we want to expand
Okay,
on
we're ready over here, guys.
Question on this. All you get is actually
having a notebook.
I'm missing the manual. Just go to. Okay, let's get that in here. Thank you. Okay, I'm ready. You know, I haven't always been doing this computer or TV thing. Back in a previous life, or in my early 20s, I used to fly planes. Yes, that's right, I was an airline pilot. Spent a lot of my time up in the Arctic where the temperature is very cold, minus 20, even up to minus 50 degrees. Thing I learned very quickly, if I was going to drive a car, I had to get it started, and I didn't want to go outside. I got a remote car starter. It meant I could be in my house and hit a button and the car would start. Back then, though, the technology didn't work that well, and it took me about a week and a half to install it. Technology has changed a lot of things, and something I want to share today by a company called Viper. It is a combination car alarm, remote sensing device, and car starter. About $600 installed, and I say installed because I was just packing the stuff back in the box, and take a look at all this stuff that comes with it. It's a heck of a big job to install. You know, I'm thinking at $600, you're pretty well getting the whole device for free, because I wouldn't charge any less than that to install it, but once it's in, it's pretty cool. The remote, right here, as you can see, it looks like a little cell phone. It actually has an LCD screen on the front that reports back all sorts of information. Cool thing is it works for up to about a quarter mile away. You can start your car without even seeing it, which I think is pretty cool. You head outside. Now, if you live in a hot climate or hot part of the country, you may not be too interested in it, but you can start the car, turn on the air conditioner, so when you get in, the car is cooled down. It's only just the beginning because it also controls the alarm. Now, interesting thing, once you've set the alarm through this, you've got the same quarter-mile response rate. So if you can't hear the alarm, it sends a signal back to this, even a vibrating mode, as well as an audible, that it'll tell you someone's trying to break into the car. I'm going to use this quick reference guide to show you a few features here. Little hammer banging on the top is indicating someone's trying to break into the car. If the hood or trunk is lit up, it tells you someone's even trying to open those, which I think is pretty interesting. Now, the auxiliary button here is nice because it gives you 3 extra modes, meaning when you have it installed, you can hook up extra devices. Maybe a DVD player you want to have turned on, or open the sunroof, or bring down the windows, or pretty much do anything you want. All, again, working in that quarter-mile range. Now, the thing is really fun is when you do start the car remotely, you even know the car is running, because I'll bring it back here again. You see the little exhaust coming out. It tells you the car is actually functioning. So total control, 2-way communication between you and the car, and starting it and the alarm. Pretty good device, I think, especially if you live in a cold climate. This is something you want to get, but a more comfortable way to maintain control of your car and have your car report back to you. Well, they say the proof's in the pudding. Let's try this out. Now, one of the things I forgot to mention, if you are interested, you have to have a car with an automatic transmission, and it's also got to be fuel injected because the technology needs to be controlled, and it's hard to get a standard out of gear if there's no one inside of the car. And also, many people are often wondering about, what about security on this? It's 66-bit encoded. It's a digital signal so that nobody can come along and capture the code and later use it on your car, so you're totally safe. The car's down there on the road. Simply on the start command, I want to check because I don't want to scare anyone down on the road. We're in a busy street. We're firing up. And I can actually see the dash light on. Looks like it worked.
When you have a wireless network, the same way you can log on to it, so can your neighbor or anyone else in a reasonable area. You need to turn the security on, and it's not that difficult. All the owner's manuals have a very brief description of what to do. It's a straightforward procedure, but if you don't do it, quite likely someone in your neighborhood is using your network to get out onto the internet, and if they've got any savvy at all, inside of your computer.
It's really sad with spyware. Just, you know, even a couple of years ago, it wasn't really anything you thought about. But now, I would say it's worse than viruses, to be honest with you. There's just so much crap that gets inside your computer. And even a lot of this anti-spyware software that's supposed to take it out, this spyware is so good that it can just reinstall itself after it's been removed. So I don't even know where that's going to end. Like Microsoft, the makers of the operating system, they've got to do something to prevent these companies from being able to access your computer like that.
Yeah, let's slate it.
Yeah. Marker.
40-10.
So I'll just do one.
Do your thing, David.
Okay.
You're doing it in a minute.
Yeah.
And I believe in you.
Okay.
3, 2, and action.
If your computer is permanently connected to the internet, you do know you face some challenges. If viruses aren't bad enough, the new big threat is spyware. Now, spyware is covert software that operates in the background of your computer, monitoring all your keystrokes and transmitting them out to another website, possibly collecting information about your passwords or your credit card numbers, all of which can easily be sold and cause you irreversible damage. How do you know if you have spyware? Typically, your computer might slow down, you might see more pop-ups than normal, and you may find that you're more often directed to websites that you didn't click on. Well, how do you resolve it? Anti-spyware. TELUS has it available, and they're definitely a trusted source. From their security services, you will find that their anti-spyware software is updated every 3 hours. They have a definition table of more than 60,000 solutions to spyware that already exists out in what we call the wild. And of course, one of the key things is constant monitoring. Your system is monitored 24 hours a day. And what makes TELUS different from other anti-spyware programs, it's a monthly subscription service that appears just on your monthly bill, not like other services that will actually expire. And also, if you are attacked or there is a threat of spyware on your computer, complete logging and visual information is given right on screen so you know exactly what is happening. Well, if you are concerned about spyware existing on your computer, which it probably does because new studies show that 95% of all computers in the world are now infected, check out TELUS's security services spyware solution.
And cut. Awesome. Time on that? All right, we're great. Okay, we're moving on.
Firewalls are a really important thing when it comes to a computer that's permanently or always on the internet. Firewall says, when I request something, it watches my request and waits for the arrival of the information, therefore guarding the computer. Without a firewall, I may be requesting. The people on the outside can come and start poking around inside of my computer. Firewall says, you didn't request this information, therefore you can't come in. Stops it.
Any questions, Ron? I'll be glad to answer your question.
Curtis, iris down a little.
Can you get my
This program might look familiar to a lot of people. It's a spreadsheet, Microsoft Excel, and if you do use spreadsheets or accounting software, you probably also use the keypad, kind of like on calculators. Most keyboards actually have it built in right on the side, but if you're using a notebook computer, you'll find that obviously they don't have enough room to include it. A lot of times, like the Sony notebook here, they actually integrate it right into the existing keyboard, and you have to use the numlock key to then access it. It's not a super handy feature. That's why a lot of people use these little portable keypads. This is a new one from Targus. It's called the Targus Mini Keypad. This one also integrates a feature that I like, a calculator. I know it sounds pretty simple, but it's very handy when you're out traveling. Obviously, when you are traveling, you're not going to bring your extra keyboard. This here fits nicely into the notebook carry case. The nice thing about this is that you can actually use it as a keypad. So as you're typing away here, the numbers appear right on the screen. But by switching it into calculator mode, just by hitting the mode button here, I can then use it as a calculator. And if I just take down to the next cell here, I can add some figures up here. And once I get my final formula, I simply hit the send key, and it sends my calculation right into the spreadsheet. So now when I'm traveling, I've got the keypad. It's got a 24-inch retractable USB cord as well. And this is kind of nice. You just take the little handle on the back, and you can wind it up, and the cord disappears right into the back of the keypad itself. So traveling, bring your calculator and your keypad all in one handy unit and save a lot of space in your notebook carry case. And cut.
135.
How were we for content? Good.
That looks good, actually.
Large audience.
20 million people look at it right now.
There is no easy way to fight spam. You've got to have some type of anti-spam software loaded on your system now. Symantec makes a good one, the Norton Anti-Spam. If you use Microsoft Outlook, they've got junk mail filters in there. But there's also some basic things that you shouldn't do either. Never unsubscribe from these junk mails that you get in. Also, if you are signing up for things, what I always do now is I have a separate Hotmail address just for signing up for things, so that if it's kind of a little shady, they'll just start spamming that Hotmail address, and it's easy for me to get rid of that. How do we know roughly how long we've got left?
I'll give you the 30 and then wrap up.
Having a notebook too is
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about
Ready?
Yeah. Get that slate in, and it's rolling.
All right, everyone else stay still, quiet on set, close the door.
And marking. And in 3, 2, and 1.
You know, we all like to think technology improves our lives, and in many cases it does. However, right now there is an epidemic with junk mail, email, and pop-ups, and we need to deal with it. New studies out indicate that we will be passing more than 60 billion emails a day. Over 60% of those are junk, and in places like Hong Kong, over 95% of them are junk. Then you have the pop-ups, those annoying windows that keep popping up on your screen repetitively. Is there anything you can do about it? Of course there is. One of the products Mike and I have used is by WebRoot. This program gives you two features. It deals with pop-ups, and it also deals with spam. It's easy to use, easy to configure, and it has some pretty interesting features built into it.
Well, a lot of people are going to ask the question, why don't I just use one of the free pop-up washers that are available on the web? Well, I think if you look at this particular one, you're going to have a little more control over it. And one feature I do like is that it has a transparent pop-up and pop-under blocker, meaning when it blocks it out, it automatically does it before it even hits the web browser, so it doesn't blink the screen. You'll find with a lot of the free ones, your screen or your computer is going to kind of pause for a second.
Sort of feels like it freezes for a second.
Exactly. This one just makes it happen automatically and you don't even notice it. Plus, you can even go to the allow list here and allow certain websites to actually have pop-ups come up. So again, there's more degree of control with this particular one.
And I think for the most part, when you pay for something, that company is getting its revenue or its return on its investment. Of course, by getting free, you've got to pay the piper at some point, so it may be some other advertisement or some other free piece of spyware that you're agreeing to download, not meaning that they're going to do some damage to your computer, but something's going to reside there because they've got to get a return on their investment. This program runs about $40, but you've got the two. One looking after the pop-ups, which are a nuisance and will not go away until you put software in to block them. And the other is the spam shredder, which is also learning as it goes along. It starts to understand what you're putting in what's called your blacklist or your whitelist. Whitelist acceptable, blacklist not, and it will start to learn your preferences.
Well, once it's installed, it automatically configures itself with Outlook, Outlook Express, and even Eudora. If you have another one, you can manually install it. But as you were saying with the whitelist, you can automatically import your entire
when
email.
you first install it.
Yeah, you can automatically import your entire email database so that you will accept all of those. And as far as the blacklist, you can then start educating the software as to what you don't want. But also, WebRoot, the company, it actually keeps a detailed database of known spammers and is continually updating it for you. So it's automatically blocking a lot of these spam messages before they even hit your inbox, clogging up your computer.
There's a lot of programs out there that do this. Mike and I have had a good chance to try this one out. When it comes to business, you want to protect your business and realize it's costing you money. New calculations show that the damage caused from these sort of activities on computers, as well as hacking, can be nearly 3% of the U.S. gross domestic product, which is in the billions of dollars. A simple solution from you can keep you up and running so you can focus on making more money with your business.
I get asked a lot, do Macs, the Apple computers, get viruses? Yes, they do, but think of it from the hacker standpoint, you know, these little creeps that are actually making viruses and worms and stuff like that. What would you rather write? A virus that can go after 90% of the computers in the world, literally millions, you know, hundreds of millions of computers, or one that can just go after like 5%? Well, of course, you're probably going to go after the user base that you can cause the most damage to, and that's the unfortunate reality.
Dave Chalk Connected is brought to you by TELUS. The future is friendly.
Remember, fear itself is a lack of knowledge about something. We fear things we don't understand. The internet has great possibilities, and it also has great dangers. The more we educate ourselves, the more the fear will go away. There's nothing to be scared of on the internet except a lack of understanding. If we don't know what it's capable of, we don't know the damage that could occur. If we educate ourselves, protect ourselves properly, there's nothing to fear.
We used to do the TV show on Dave's Farm, and I mean, it was nice because it was nice and tranquil, and I guess that's what we were trying to get across, but it just drove me nuts. Like, there's just animals everywhere, and I don't know, I don't, maybe I'm not an animal guy, but you know, when sheep are like trying to bite you all the time, and it's got these llamas, and the llamas they spit on you. They spit. That's not cool. My dream retirement. Me on a tropical island and Dave bringing me drinks all the time.